all these labels, they're great because it helps you describe yourself to other people. But at the end of the day, I just know that I'm me. I know that non-binary is what fits because I'm just like, I wake up one day, I want to do this, I want to dress this. I don't have to fit a particular category, And even when it comes to my sexuality, I'm like, I'm queer because I love all sorts of people, So pansexual is something that aligns with me. But overall, the word queer just wraps up my sexuality.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley, and I'm so happy you came by. The Queerly Blax Show aims to normalize the everyday existence of Black, LGBTQIA+ individuals through an interview-style series with regular folks like you and me. So every week, a new guest shares their story and unique perspective on their existence as an LGBTQIA+ individual. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe, download, set your reminders to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Enjoy the show. Yep. Welcome back to another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. I'm here with a very special guest from Kenya, y'all. From Kenya. We got Majic with us. Majic, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
What's up, everybody? I'm super, super excited for the conversation that we're about to have.
Awesome. Well, Majic, we're gonna jump right in. We just gonna get right into the business, right? So let's go back to your when was the first time you were faced with your sexuality? So like, what was the first time you were kind of like, oh no, man, I might have something here? When was that experience for you?
I think the first time that I realized that I wasn't straight was in middle school, when everyone had crushes on like other boys, or like, because I had like a group of girlfriends and they would always talk about like, oh, I like blah blah blah, I like blah blah blah, and I'm just like, none of this resonates.
Actually, I'm not really vibing with that.
Right.
One of y'all
that part, literally that. I was just like, y'all fine as hell though. Let me find out. Like, right. And I think from that point, that's when I started like questioning myself. But that was middle school, which was like, I don't know how old, 13, 12.
Yeah, you want to about. I'm sure it's school system the same as it is in US. So like here we go into sixth grade about 11, sixth grade is about 11, 12.
Yeah, I was in school out there in the US. I actually just relocated back to Kenya this year. So a couple of months ago, actually.
Oh, nice. So you're middle school. So what's your, so just to get that timeline, when you were born in Kenya, when did you come to the United States?
So I was born in Kenya in 94. When I was 10 years old, I moved to the US, lived in the East Coast for pretty much 17 years. And then I decided to come back this year.
Nice. What sparked the desire to go back?
So many things. I think the virus, being locked inside for so long, and like having to sit with yourself and just ask yourself, like, is this really what I want to do? Like, because it's always been a thought in the back of my mind. And it was just one of those things where I was like, okay, after 2 years of essentially lockdown inside, no more performances, no more going out, I was just like, what is really keeping me here? Like, what's actually keeping me here? Because, we came here with the idea of chasing the American dream, but working that 9 to 5 is not really the rat race that I'm trying to be in forever. Yeah. So I was like, let me go back home and see what's happening over here.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm sure your family's happy to have you back around and stuff like that. So you kind of had the first like, okay, I think I might be into the ladies. When did you actually come out?
I think high school is when I came out. There's no like one defining moment where I was like, all right, y'all, I'm a whole ass lesbian. It was more so like in high school when I started dressing differently, when I started, flirting with other girls and other girls started flirting with me. It just kind of happened on its own. The people started with the rumors like, oh, is Faith, gay? Is she this? Is she that? Is she that? And I was just like, in the words of Gucci, bitch, I might be. Like, I just let him talk about
I love it.
So, there was no like one big, like, let me stand up and tell the class, but it was just a series of like different things that kind of like set off the alarm for the people around me.
Yeah. How'd you present? Did you wear like feminine clothes, or was it kind of the combination of like what your parents bought you and like a few of your own put your own twist on it. So it was like still feminine clothes, but like I'm gonna cut the sleeves off and like, I'm gonna do my own little thing with it.
It was definitely more masculine because once I got to high school and I had a little job or whatever, I could actually go shopping
Oh
for
yeah,
myself.
man.
And that's when I started shopping in the little boy section at
Mm-hmm.
Macy's and J.C. Penney. So then that was kind of my thing. And then after that, I just grew into a really androgynous style. So pretty much dressing however, but finding a way to put my own twist to it.
Yeah. How'd your family respond? Like in the, as much detail as you want to, but just like what was the process for you like telling your family and then also how because you were in the States at the time, but I'm
Mhm.
sure, being what I think is a first generation immigrant, right?
Mhm.
Your roots are in Kenya. How was that for you?
So my mom, the way that things happen in like African communities is one person starts to talk and then blah blah blah's parents talks to your mom. So it was actually I didn't get a chance to tell my mom because someone else had already told her like, oh, your daughter's going to prom wearing a suit. We've noticed that she started dressing differently. We think that she's a lesbian. So then like that whole conversation was had without my consent. And it was just it was a lot. It was a lot because my mom was very upset. Like I think she went through like the 5 stages of grief, like denial, like you can't be doing this to me. Like why are you doing this to the family? Like I didn't raise you like this to like, sadness to like, you know, I don't even know. She definitely had to process things on her own, but culturally, her being raised in Africa, in Kenya, like it's very taboo. It's very much so like these are things that people don't talk about, like their sexuality, period. Because you're supposed to be, a young girl, you get married at like 25, you have kids, and then you raise the kids. Like there's no conversation about any deviation
It
from
doesn't even
that.
come into play. It's like this isn't even something we need to talk about because this is the plan. Like everyone does this. So, but are
Exactly.
there gay people in Kenya that even if they are in the closet or can't talk about it or be out, they exist, right?
They surely do. They very much so exist. Like even culturally, there are different cultures which men used to marry men or women used to marry women. So culturally, like if we go back in history, there are traces of like just non-hetero lifestyles. And it's actually wild because like a lot of the continent of Africa, like there's this whole belief that like homosexuality is un-African, like this is all Western ideas. And it's just like you do know that we were colonized, and the Bible and all of this, all these ideas that you hold aren't even your ideas. Like you're not even talking about what's culturally, you know, accurate to you and your people. But people are very, very dead set on their beliefs out here.
Yeah. Did you have any um was there any reservation or feeling of did that come into play when you decided to go back home?
Yes and no, because the way that I look at it is like I'm not safe in America as a queer Black person. I'm not safe anywhere, so it's just one of those things where it's like, would I rather struggle with my people on my own soil or, fear for my life in America while I'm just unhappy in general? So the safety factor was something that I definitely thought about. And it was just when I weighed the pros and cons, I was like, I'd rather be with my people in my culture, closer to, the rest of my family, closer to my roots, and just grow from there. Because there is a very like there's a thriving community out here of like just queer folks. There are many different organizations that are working for them to push the movement forward. So I was just like, let me go fight over here. If I'm gonna be fighting against my own will, let me at least pick who I'm fighting next to. you
Yeah,
know
yeah, choose the community. Yeah, it's big. That makes a whole lot of sense too. Um, so drag king, you uh I, you're the first person I've even seen that uses that. Talk about what that is. Obviously, I know I've seen drag queen and RuPaul's Drag Race, and I live in LA, so I've been to like a bunch of drag shows and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But never heard of a drag king. So talk about
Uh-huh.
that.
So the art of drag is just a large conversation on gender. And art is subjective, so it means something different to everyone. But essentially, a drag king is a woman or a femme or female identifying person who plays on masculinity in whatever form. So my persona, Majic, was born 2017, which is like 5-6 years ago. And it was just like, it came from a place of when I was searching for myself and I was like breaking free from like being the closeted, young, afraid queer with like super social anxiety and stuff like that. I was like, I like dancing. I can't sing for shit. So like, let me just find a way to get on a stage and dance and like put on a performance. And drag came about. Yeah, I went to a couple of drag shows and I didn't see any kings. So I only saw drag queens because I lived in DC at the time. So like, I was just like, I know we have to exist. Like, there's no way. There's just no way. So after searching and searching and searching, I finally found some kings. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take on this challenge and push myself to do this new scary thing. And then from there, Majic was born and I never looked back.
So 2017. So when was the first time you put on like the whole get up, the mustache, the whole thing?
That was February 2017 is when I put on the beard and I stepped on my stage and I performed at a brunch. Yeah, brunch in DC. I think Acre 121. The place is closed down now. But that was the first time that I put on a whole ass performance in my beard and whatnot.
How's that experience for you?
It was scary, to have all eyes on you, to have cameras pointing at you. Like it takes a lot to get on the stage and like pretty much bear yourself, in front of strangers and friends alike. So
yeah, what
it
was
was
that?
scary.
How's the process? Like, how do you come up with like your set, like what you're gonna do and stuff like that?
So for most shows, they usually have a theme. So like if you're doing a brunch, they usually want like upbeat, like crowd favorites, because everyone is like eating, it's daytime. If you're doing like a night gig, they probably want something, sensual, sexy, or there's some comedy shows. So they ask for like funny drag numbers, or there's usually a different theme that the producer will tell you ahead of time, like, oh, I'm having a show on Valentine's Day. Can you bring something related to that? Or like, oh, it's Halloween. I want to do something scary or along that line. But it's usually the people at the top tell you this is where the show is going to be. This is the audience. We want it family friendly. We want it kinky, or we want whatever. And then I just listen to all my playlists and pick something, put something together, and then get on stage.
Nice. That's pretty cool. So you do they have is there like a drag king culture in Kenya as well?
Now there is. Because when I came out here, I was like, I'm not going to leave my art behind. So I'm working with an organization out here to put on a drag king show, which is going to be 2 weeks from now. So we've been doing trainings. I've been teaching the different people about like what it means to be a king. We do have some drag queens in the production as well. But yeah, I very much so decided to like plant the seeds and water the seeds, and anyone who's interested, I'm like, y'all, come along. I'm gonna teach y'all all about this thing and then watch y'all go be great.
Yeah, nah, super dope. What about so I watched the episode, I think about 2 episodes of Drag Me King. So how did that get started? Those are like your friends that y'all came together and put that show together?
So Drag Me King is produced by What a Weekend, which is a queer trans owned YouTube entertainment company. So it was Arrows who reached out to me to ask me like, hey, we like your art. We want you to host this thing. And I was like, sure. So that's when that idea was pretty much born from Arrows wanting to shine more light on the drag king community, because there are so many of us, but like you said, it's RuPaul that like when you look up drag, it starts with like RuPaul and then everything else is like drag queens in the city, drag queens here. And then after like you have to like go digging to find the kings. So Drag Me King was born when Arrows was like, listen, I have the budget, I have the idea. All I need is a few kings. And then we showed up, we showed out.
Yeah,
And that
that's
was pretty
pretty
much
cool.
that.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I think just being able to find community is just so important, especially on this journey, because a lot of times for most of us, you kind of come out to your family, you go through this whole process, and then there's the process of like self-discovery of like, okay, now I've come out, I know that I'm not hetero, but there's all these other
Mhm.
things that I have to figure out about myself. Um, and so I know that you are pretty open about that, like self-discovery process and like figuring out, what it means to be me. And one quote that I found on, in my Instagram digging that I thought was really cool, that you quoted was, the more I cultivate a home within my body, the more I realize how genderless I actually am.
Mhm.
So super powerful quote. But what has that process been for you with self-discovery?
So there's been a lot of unpacking and like going within self-reflection, because I think the more you dig, the more language you have, the more like ideas you come across, the more you begin to reflect that on yourself. So when I first, started dressing differently, I was labeled as a lesbian, and I was like, I mean, I guess that fits. And then after a time I was like, I don't really fit into the lesbian community, because like the masculine dykes are expected to act a certain way in relationships. And the more I hung out in like lesbian spaces, I was like, there's this separation of like, here are the femmes, here are the masculine folks. We want the mask folks to act like this, like they're the ones that's supposed to pay the bill and do this and do this. And I was like, there's a lot of heteronormative shit even within the L community. And I was like, I want to dress differently. So I remember one of my partners telling me that like, if she ever catches me playing in makeup or something along those lines, I was like, that's gonna be it. And then we would get into fights because she was like, you're not aggressive enough for me, you're not this. And I was just like, yo, I didn't know that, this label meant this to you or to other people. And the more I dug, I was just like, you know, all these labels, they're great because it helps you describe yourself to other people. But at the end of the day, I just know that I'm me. I know that non-binary is what fits, because I'm just like, I wake up one day, I want to do this, I want to dress this. I don't have to fit a particular category. And even when it comes to my sexuality, I'm like, I'm queer because I love all sorts of people. So pansexual is something that aligns with me. But overall, the word queer just wraps up my sexuality, my aesthetic, my attraction, my romantic attraction, my all the things. But it's definitely self-discovery is, you continue to come out to yourself. You continue to learn more. And the more you dig, the more you're just like, oh shit, I didn't even know this. Oh shit, I didn't know this. Like I'm still learning things till this day. So it's something that I just, once you start that journey, you kind of like, you just can't stop. There are people who are like in their 60s just not realizing that they're trans, and it's just like, yeah, there's no one way to come out or to do things or to figure yourself out. It's just a forever thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Awesome. Two more questions.
I'm
One
here.
is, if you had a theme song for your life, what would it be?
I actually have a song, because somebody asked me that question and I found the perfect song. It is called, where is it at? I have a whole playlist of like mood songs. It's called 444 by, where is this chick at? I can't say this name to save my life, but it's Gayatri Krishnan. But it's 444 by Gayatri on Spotify. Y'all should look it up. It's a great fucking song.
What's it about?
It's essentially talking about like energy. It's talking about like who this person is as a person. So she's talking about like, I just want to do something great for myself and my family. I just want to do like, I want to put out this energy into the world. And I'm like, that is what I want to do. Like, I just want to, spread love, be joyful, leave a legacy behind, do some, leave something great for me and my family. And like, that
Yeah,
goes for like the whole community, where it's just like, you just want to do good and be good and change up shit that needs to be changed.
for sure, for sure. All right, last question. One piece of advice you have for somebody on their own queer journey.
I would say create a safe space within yourself. Like, I know we often seek out safe spaces, we often look for places where we can be ourselves, but your first home is your mind and your body. If you're not aligned here, if you're not happy here, you're never going to find peace in the outside. You first have to create that environment for yourself. So that means like not judging yourself when you wake up feeling, you know, dysphoric, or you wake up feeling all these different feelings that come with being queer. Just try your best to make sure that your mind, your heart, your body, your soul are as peaceful as can be. And then I think that's really it. Create peace within yourself, and then you'll find it all around you.
Yeah, I love that. All right, tell the people where they can find you, any upcoming events, anything that you want to share.
You can find me on Instagram at mx.magic with a J. So that's MAJIC. On YouTube, it's Majic Dyke. On Twitter, Majic Dyke. Facebook, Majic Dyke. And that's pretty much all my social medias.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. Glad that you were able to get back to the motherland, to Kenya, and bring in, you know, drag king culture there. And good luck to you and everything that you continue to do, and how you continue to contribute to the queer community. We greatly appreciate that from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for these conversations, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Y'all already know it's another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host. I'll catch y'all on the next one.